2, and welcome back to the show. What's going on, everybody? Shout out early comments. Big Mo, smash that like. That is right. Smash that like button on the way in the door. Welcome back to Talking About Sports here with me, Matt Garces, alongside my co-host Justin. Justin, how are you today, my friend?
Very good, man. Very good. Football come and gone, it seems like, but we got the biggest game of the year.
Oh,
But
bro. Yeah. It's like that meme I seen earlier today where it's like, man, just yesterday we were talking about how Dan Carter spit on Dak Prescott. Now we're talking about the Super Bowl.
oh yeah, big facts. From then till now, seems like only yesterday.
Boy, yeah. Tell me about it, my friend. Tell me about it. But speaking of that game, we're going to start right there. As we are now down to 2, Justin. The New England Patriots will take on the Seattle Seahawks as those are your conference champions. One winning a very hard drag out, very questionable, which we got to get into a lot of this. Why are a lot of these experienced coaches taking the analytic route in a snowstorm, no less? And then the other game, the Seattle Rams game, was incredible. My God, how good was that game? But Justin, give me your thoughts on first. What do you like? Do you like this matchup? Do you think this is projecting to be a good Super Bowl coming up next week or in 2 weeks? 2 weeks.
I think it's a really good Super Bowl. I think it's going to be better than people think it is. I think I've come to learn that and respect the Patriots defense is a little better than people think it is.
Absolutely.
Uh, and now I favor Seattle. Just I think they're the most complete team, in my opinion. I think they I think their offense is slightly better. JSN is absolutely a problem for anybody. Dude's always open, man. That dude has been incredible. He's been the top receiver in the league this year.
Jackson
Um,
Smith-Njigba has been going off, bro. Absolutely.
yeah, and then you add Cooper Cup with him, man, who's still been productive, even though people tried to move off of him, and but he came up big in that game. Um, so I think Seattle's the favorite, but it wouldn't shock me. I think two good coaches, I think that are at the peak of their coaching right now. I think the game's gonna be so good, man. It's gonna be a good game. Like I said, I do lean Seattle. Personally, I just think they're the most complete team. That defense flies around. I think they've been up there all year with, you know, Houston and Denver, defensive wise. Maybe not quite as good, but really, really good, solid.
Bro, yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be they're in for one hell of a matchup themselves, bro. Yeah, the New England Patriots, because they have gone up against arguably now three of the best defenses out there in the league. They've capitalized on every mistake that you make, they have capitalized big time on. Now, getting to what I was leaning towards earlier, bro, what is it about analytics that keeps changing the minds of some of these head coaches, bro? What do you think has gotten into some of these guys to where we talked about it this weekend as the game's happening? Why, if you're Sean Payton, not take that early field goal instead of going for it where you lose the ball on downs and then you're the one trying to score in a fucking winter storm that you can't even make a field goal in. Nobody can. You couldn't even make a field goal from 20 yards in that weather, bro. Why? Why is it that analytics have taken over the minds of some of these coaches?
And that's Super Bowl winning head coaches. I don't get it. We, like you said, we texted during the game. I know it's early, but you know that you have Stidham at quarterback.
Yeah,
You got to take, and you could tell
and he
pretty
can play
early on
better.
after,
He can play better.
you could tell early on after those drives that it was probably going to be a low scoring game. You kind of figured that point.
Yes.
And you had to have had the weather report. So every point at that point, I mean, it's just, I just don't understand it. And in both games, in both conference championship games, there were questionable go for it decisions. And
Oh,
we've seen it all year. At some point you got to let the analytics go and just see what the flow of the game is. You got to take the points.
bro,
I don't understand from
at a premium, bro. At a premium, especially in the Denver New England game where you knew like a snowstorm was coming. A snowstorm was on the way, and you knew that it was going to be very hard to get that ball down the field, let alone kick the ball. But yeah, even in the Rams in Seattle, bro, they're just like you. At some point, just let's just keep stacking up points and force because it obviously as good as these two defenses were in that NFC Championship game, bro. These offenses were moving that ball down the field. You got to take every shot at points you get.
Well, then if you're Denver, you know that you have a great defense. Why not take the points in? Because then you go up 10 points, you go up two
Yeah, you could have won
possessions,
it up. Yeah.
and you have that defense who's been stellar all year for the most part, besides a few games here and there. So why not go up two possessions and trust your defense? Because I think what two drives after that is when Stidham accidentally, threw the ball behind them and they go and score on the,
Yeah,
because they get the ball.
they had. They said he threw it backwards, and it was
Should have been a touchdown for New England right then and there, but either way, I mean, that takes all the momentum because now it's a tie game instead of you still being up 3.
yes.
It just doesn't make any sense. And I said it to many Denver fans, at the end of the day, your coach cost you that game. I mean, he absolutely cost you the game.
Bro, a Super Bowl winning head coach, an experienced head coach, cost you that game. Not just, just being. I don't know what else to say other than just being foolish and not taking those points.
And that's not before the weather. And that was before the weather got there. So it's not like he could say, "Oh, well, the weather was bad." That the weather was still clear. It was green fields.
You knew it was coming. It was supposed to be snowing the whole game. You knew that weather was on the way.
And at that moment where he decided to go for it, the weather was fine. He could have made it. I mean, and then no one is going to be able to kick after that, and you're up 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You would have been the one that was up 2 scores. Now you're the one trying to get any kind of score in the game where the snow is everywhere, the wind is blowing 1,000 miles an hour.
Like if this was a lesser coach, say this was like a Mike McCarthy, oh man, he'd be getting cooked even worse than what Sean's getting. Oh, I mean,
they'd want him fired.
I mean, my goodness, man.
Absolutely, bro. It's
really. But how many times have we seen it? And if you watch enough football, especially for someone like me and you who tends to watch the weekend games, all of them, all of the ones that we can catch. But I mean, my goodness, man. You see it so many times throughout the year where they just don't take the points. They let the analytics get in their head, man. And I heard a good quote. I think it was from Mark Starrett. He was, analytics don't do the hitting. Analytics don't go block. Analytics don't do this or that. In that game in particular, your offensive line was getting beat pretty good. For Denver, their offensive line did not play well even up to that point. And so you decide to go for it instead of take the points when and what happened? You try to roll Stidham out and go for a pass, and your line absolutely gets blown through. So why not just take the points, man?
Yeah, especially with how on fire the New England defense was playing that game specifically. They were in their element too.
And then you almost wonder if that drive that Stidham had, that one great drive where he made that great deep 50-yard throw or whatever, got in their head and gave them false confidence.
It had to have, bro, but the thing, because, man, I just don't know. Shout out to Alan in the comments. Sean Payton was too hungry for the win. Too many questionable calls. Absolutely. Way too many questionable calls. Like I said, from an experienced coach to make those mistakes is insane to me, man. It's just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling.
I mean, you're at home with your defense as well. You're at home with your defense with the weather coming in. I just don't understand how you don't take the points. I mean, if we can see it from here, I just don't get it.
Yeah, bro. You get it at every opportunity, especially not only that, but it's like we've been saying, the snowstorm is coming. You know it's on the way. Bad weather is going to play a factor at some point in this game. Let's get up. Let's just build the lead. Keep building the lead, especially when they have no points on the board. Build your lead up.
And I'm not going out to bat for him or anything because I think it was the worst call of the season, in my opinion. But man, have you ever seen a game's weather change so dramatically? I mean, the field went from green to ice in a matter of minutes, it seemed like.
Shout out. Big comments in the question. Who y'all think is going to win the Super Bowl? Chat, let us know in the chat. We will highlight your comments, mention them here on the show. But looking at the Super Bowl, I think we're in for a good matchup, bro. I think we're in for a really, really good matchup. It's Drake May hasn't been playing stellar football, but his team, like I said, his defense has capitalized on every mistake that they've made, and he hasn't really had good full games, but he's had good halves. And if he has the right half at the right time, there's no telling, especially with how well coached they are, bro. With my God, if Vrabel is not for sure the coach of the year, you got a tough debate to come up against him. But with what people are debating in these awards and Hall of Fames, man, we shall see.
Once
And then that's
Seattle.
another thing, like this comment, shout out to Allen again. He feels like the Seahawks might run over the Patriots, and that's not hard to see, bro.
It's
That
not hard to see. Sam
Seattle,
Darnold just played the best game of his career.
yeah, they're on fire, bro. And this is one of those conversations. Hey, Lucas,
Hey,
one of those conversations where like we were talking about, look what happens when you got a guy in the right system and you let not only that, but you let this guy develop, bro. Look at where Sam Darnold was a few years ago to now. He has developed as a complete quarterback that can handle these big games, bro. He was just, bro, like 4 or 5 years ago, he was seeing ghosts, and now he's playing in the damn Super Bowl.
well, I think I've seen, I'm gonna be a little off on this maybe, but I think I've seen in the last few, like his record is like 35-9 or something crazy, something great like that. I mean, at some point, man, this dude has been balling, and like you said, in the biggest moment, his biggest game of his career, man, that might have been the best game I've seen him play. Man, he was decisive, he was on time,
Yes,
he'd make plays, he wasn't scared to get out of the pocket, he'd hold and take a shot. Man, he was really good.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Only thing that might get the Patriots the win is if the lights are too bright for Sam, and that's what we got to see, bro. He has been on big stages and playing well, but this is going to be the biggest stage because it's all going to start this weekend. The media is going to start rolling in. You're going to start getting hit with every question. All the bright lights and cameras are going to be on you coming in here in the next couple weeks, bro. And we shall see. Like I said, I think we're in for a great game come Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, I also think Seattle's done such a good job, man, of putting so many pieces around him.
Yes.
There's pieces all over that defense. That offense is explosive. Their offensive line plays well. I believe McDonald's going to have him ready to play. Like I said, I mean, it's not as bright as the Super Bowl, but the NFC Championship game, I mean, that's pretty bright lights right there, man. Especially against the Rams and an old guy in Stafford who did play well. I mean, let's be honest, Stafford played well, man, and he outdueled him. It's not like Stafford or the Rams played poorly; they just got beat.
Yeah.
And that Rams, they
it was like Sam Darnold played a clean football game, 0 mistakes that game,
which was crucial.
Very crucial in these moments, and it's gone as the playoffs have gone on. The team that makes little to no mistakes, that's the team that's going to win. But staying in the NFL, Justin, probably the biggest headline coming out of anything this weekend. Bill Belichick was snubbed of his first ballot Hall of Fame place, even though it was voted for him to skip the line to wait. Reporting from Ari Mirov, and I'll bring this up closer to me as I can read it. 1 second. Ari Mirov of the ESPN's reports that from ESPN report, Bill Polian was a vocal figure in the Hall of Fame deliberations involving Bill Belichick, with Spygate and Deflategate coming up among voters during discussions. Per a voter who spoke anonymously, Polian, the former Bills and Colts GM, who obviously shouldn't like the New England Patriots, and a longtime Patriots rival, told voters that he believed Bill should wait a year, quote, as penance for Spygate. Justin, a lot of people, just like in our comments, believe, why would you do this to somebody who is second all time in wins? He leads in playoff wins. As a coach, he has the most Super Bowls as a head coach and just as a coach in general. He has 8. 2 as coordinator, 6 as a head coach. The most playoff wins. Second most wins in general all the time. He's probably like a good 2 seasons away from leading that category. Justin, what are your thoughts of Bill Belichick not only being voted to skip the wait line, but then being snubbed as a first ballot Hall of Famer, who, by the way, this morning, Bill Polian read a written statement saying that he was not the one and that the Hall of Fame body confirmed he did vote for Bill Belichick. But this was off a written statement that he prepared prior to all this happening.
I think it's obvious that Bill got robbed. I mean, what are we even talking about here? And I've been on record saying I think it was mostly Brady in that dynasty. I think it was this and that. I'm not the biggest Bill fan. I don't think the dude's got 6 Super Bowl championships as a head coach. He's got 2 as a coordinator. What are they talking about? It's not even a question. You can say what you want about Spygate or Deflategate or whatever. It's so stupid. I think even Jimmy Johnson came out on record and said, "Man, we all did. We've all done that. We've all done it." And You know, and that Bill Polian, to, what makes it weird about him is that he said he couldn't remember 2 weeks ago if he voted for Bill or not. Well, how is that even a thing? How do you not know that you didn't vote for Bill Belichick to make the Hall of Fame? Why are we waiting any time? It's almost like me and you have talked about with Tom Brady. Why are we even waiting? Well, what's the point? You know, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Either a Hall of Famer or not. And Bill Belichick is clearly a Hall of Famer. He's clearly a Hall of Famer. And he's
Yeah,
a first ballot Hall of Famer. What are we even talking about? There should have been no wait. There should have been no line. There should have been nothing. And I'm not even a Bill guy.
there shouldn't even been a
But
debate. There should have been zero.
what are we even
The fact
talking
that
about?
the fact that 10 voters were like, "Nah, I don't think so." Like that's incredible to me. That
There's got to be, there's an agenda there. I mean, you know, I credit to Joseph, your brother. I agree. I kind of agree with what he said. Hall of Famers should vote on the Hall of Fame.
absolutely.
I agree with that 100% because how can, of course, Bill Polian, who's a coach GM, I mean, and I think he was a coach GM at the time of Deflategate, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Of course, he's gonna. But I don't know. Did he vote for him? Like you said, they said he did. So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like just the other day, he was saying he didn't remember, but then comes out with a written statement this morning saying, like, yes, I did, and they confirmed that I did. Like, you can't like, why do you need a written statement to say that? If first of all,
How do you not know if you voted for?
if you can't remember who you voted for, you probably shouldn't need a fucking vote. You're probably too old at that point. There should be an age gap and a retest, kind of like when you get your license. There should be a retest of who votes for the Hall of Fame. And I agree. Other Hall of Famers, just like the Heisman, other Hall of Famers should vote for who's in the Hall of Fame. The fact that is this going to be so? Is this going to prevent Tom fucking Brady from getting in the Hall of Fame first ballot in here in a couple years? He was on those same teams.
There's not a shot. And my question, okay, so say Sean Payton leaves, is he not going to be in the Hall of Fame because of
of Bounty Gate?
Bounty Gate?
You going to miss the Hall of Fame?
It's and Bills is still, that's a bad analogy because Bills is so much worse. I mean, it's the greatest dynasty we've ever seen. Let's be honest with it. I mean,
doing that for 20 plus years.
You know, you got to think about it. You know, okay, so think about it like this: the Dallas Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the San Francisco 49ers. Pittsburgh's got 6, Dallas Cowboys have 5, San Francisco has 5.
Yeah.
Well, they did that all in like multiple generations.
Yes.
Patriots did this all with Bill and Tom.
Under Bill Belichick.
I mean, who was more dominant in those years than the Patriots? They almost had an undefeated. They went to 10.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, I just don't even understand. Okay, so say Bill Polian did, in fact, vote for Bill Belichick. How was there 10 other guys that did not? And who were those guys? We need to know this.
Yeah, I feel like that this is, especially when the Hall of Fame comes out, we're like, hey, we're going to review a lot of these guys and make sure they're following because, I mean, if any standard is set, how does Bill Belichick not fit the standard?
And if you're the Hall of Fame, don't you have a standard where you're going to say, you know what, we're not doing that. We're going to go ahead and induct him anyway.
I wish it doesn't seem like there's a thing where they can or will veto this option. Because, like, bro, it's like a long list. Like, look, bro, look at T.O. T.O. should have been the first ballot Hall of Famer, and the same shit happened to him.
It did. Yeah, T.O. should have been in the Hall of Fame.
Against him.
You know, and that makes me concerned about, you know, a Larry Fitzgerald this year, a Jason Witten this year, obvious people who should be there.
Yeah, I would say to the folks watching and hoping, do not be surprised if people like that don't make it on their first ballot. And it's incredible because
it's going to make it lose. It's going to make the Hall of Fame lose credibility.
Yeah, as if that wasn't like, you know, up for debate now. You know, as a lot of the former Hall of Famers have been, you know, people like Deion Sanders have been saying like it's a lot of it's turned into the Hall of really good. So it's like, what is going on in the Hall of Fame? Because clearly an agenda was set against Bill Belichick at the Hall of Fame this year, and it's very criminal what happened. Because
big facts, Alan. Big facts.
Because if like I said, if there's any person, any one head coach, he has more wins and Super Bowls than head coaches that are already in there. That's the crazy part. There's first ballot Hall of Fame coaches that he has done more than, and yet he's not.
How many Super Bowls didn't he win? Did he win 3 more Super Bowls after all that nonsense?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
After all the things that they're trying to discredit him for? I don't understand it. I'll never understand that at all. I think it's criminal. And if the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame wants to keep credibility, I would say we're not even going to go through it. I don't care what bylaws you have. Bill Belichick is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's in.
Yeah, this is something that obviously needs to be vetoed, and we're gonna overrule this. And I don't know. It's just nasty. The
Sometimes we get down to too much politics and there's not enough common sense. Okay. So
absolutely,
for,
bro. But that's an
for me, it's Bill Belichick not being in the Hall of Fame first ballot is common sense. For me, like, why do we need to wait 5 years for Tom Brady to get in the Hall of Fame? He's the greatest player to ever touch the field in the NFL. You can like him, you can hate him. He's the greatest of all time.
yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. Is this gonna affect somebody like Tom Brady, who was on those teams when that happened, who took the fall for Deflategate and then was proven innocent?
I think if they was
Like,
not to give Tom
is
Brady,
this gonna affect Tom? Is this going to affect like other people? Like we said, is this going to affect the Larry Fitzgerald, who we think is a first ballot Hall of Famer? Is this going to affect the Jason Witten, who we think is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, or somebody
if
like
they do not put Tom Brady in first ballot, if they do not put Tom Brady in first ballot, it's going to make people not want the Hall of Fame. They're not going to care. The Hall of Fame will become the BET Awards.
Wow. Yeah, nobody cares about the fucking BET Awards. But,
exactly. No one's going to care anymore.
But if you want to get on the subject of politics, let's talk about the NCAA, who has decided that next year's playoff will stay at 12 teams. The changes that come are auto bids for the 4 Power 4 champions, regardless of ranking. And Justin, here's the kicker where the politics come in. Notre Dame is guaranteed a bid as long as they're ranked in the top 12 of the final poll. Remember, only in football, Notre Dame is a prime independent. They do not have a conference. They were pulled out of the playoff this year for the team that made the conference, that made the national title in Miami. But now, starting next year, all they have to do is be ranked in the top 12, and they get an automatic bid along with the Power 4 champions. What is your thoughts on this ruling by the College Football Committee and the thought that all Notre Dame has to do is get to number 12 and they are in?
I don't mind. I don't mind the 12 teams still. I want 16, but the 12 teams would work. It would have worked this year if they would have done it correctly and take out Tulane in them and put in Texas and Notre Dame probably. Now the Notre Dame thing to me is weird, and I don't understand that. I don't understand. So you're telling me that a team at 11 that is ranked 11 you get kicked out, but as long as Notre Dame is at 12, who don't even play a conference and tends to play a pretty weak schedule for the most part, is automatically in. That doesn't make any sense to me. That seems more like TV dillish, like ratings dillish kind of thing to me, because I just don't understand why the NCAA would even agree to do that.
I mean, because it's the same thing, kind of like how in the NFL, bro. Let's not kid around here. Notre Dame in themselves bring a large audience.
Of
They
course.
really do. You look at the highest rating games of the college football season. Notre Dame is in a lot of those games. Now, to me, it's insane because this does take away, just instantly takes another spot. Kind of like being said here in the comments, and thank you again, guys, for joining us in the comments today. Shout out to y'all. To me, that it's gonna force a lot of people's hands on doing what matters of these other any conference championship game. If all Notre Dame has to do is get ranked 12, and you're only guaranteeing the Power 4 conferences, which you're
And
gonna go to the Tulanes and the North Texases, but
we've seen this year already, though. Here's the problem: is that we've seen this year with Texas not getting in, with the Longhorns not getting in. All Notre Dame has to do is schedule soft, and they're going to be ranked 12.
Yeah, and their schedule is going to be the same, similar this year as it was last year. Their toughest opponent will be Miami and A&M,
which we all seen. A&M, I mean, they wasn't nothing. Now Miami ended up being pretty good, but we saw because of Texas's snub from the playoffs.
Mhm.
that schedule that they didn't factor in scheduling enough.
Yeah,
So
because
all
to me
Notre Dame has to do is play one tough opponent and
really
schedule cupcakes.
go undefeated.
And that's it. And then they're in for what?
And then to me, that was going to be my next point. Is if they're going to do this for Notre Dame, it needs to be a lot stricter judgment on the schedule and who you're actually beating. Because and this is not a shot at any team. A lot of these teams play shit out of conference schedules, bro. They play shit out of conference schedules. They play the easiest team they can find with a notable enough name. Kind of like, like I said, to me, Texas A&M wasn't much of anything to bark at this year, and it was proven in the playoff.
Well,
They
you
went,
could call it out for what it was. Ohio State, Texas Tech,
yeah,
A&M.
Ohio State, Texas Tech, A&M.
And I'm a Texas Tech fan, but they played soft schedules. You know, it's going to be shown again. Texas Tech has a really easy schedule coming up. They're going to come in ranked number 7. They're going to play an easy schedule. They're going to get to the playoffs, and they are going to struggle. And Notre Dame is automatically going to get a bid, even though they don't want to. They could automatically get a bid anyway if they would just join a conference.
Yeah, they're in a conference and everything else. They're in the ACC for
Not in
basketball.
football, they're not. So why not put them in the ACC anyway and make them compete against the Miamis and the Indiana or
Clemson, at least.
I mean you can automatically get it if you get the bid if you win the conference championship.
Yeah, but to me, like I said, this is, I'm not gonna say it isn't fair fully, as long as they're judged firmly. I'm not gonna say harsh, but firmly really look at who they're playing and who they beat. Mainly who they beat. Because to me, you're gonna get the same things. How teams are just gonna sneak in there and play soft enough schedules to where they're gonna sit in that anywhere from that 5 to 10 range and just sit and wait. They don't have to make a conference championship. They don't have to lose any more games. They can just soften up their schedule at the end, and they're gonna make the playoff.
And it goes back to the point of college football needs to take the scheduling out of the school's hands. I think, like conference champions should play conference champions the next year. Texas Tech this year on their non-conference schedule should be playing, Indiana, Miami's, or I know Miami didn't win the conference championship, but those kind of whoever the Georgias, though that's who the conference champions should have first place schedules.
Think about this: if that rule was enacted this year, Duke would have been in that instead of Miami. They would have won that Power 4.
Well, Miami should have been in the conference championship anyway.
Hey, you can't leave it up to tiebreakers, bro.
The fact that Duke and Virginia were in that conference championship was a joke, and the fact that Tulane and North Texas was even in the playoffs, they need their own championship. They don't belong there. I'm sorry, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Texas, who had a great schedule and competed well, maybe they wouldn't have won. I don't think anyone had anything for Indiana anyway, but they should have been in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And they're supposed to. That's supposed to. The scheduling is supposed to be a criteria. It is in the rules as a criteria of the power rankings and the playoff rankings. Yeah. But it doesn't feel like it because, who had a better schedule than Texas and who beat more opponents than Texas Longhorns did?
Exactly.
Now that Florida game, yeah, it came back and bit them.
But you let a Tulane and a North Texas get in.
Exactly.
Which is insane to me. Insane. And like I said, they were only vindicated by allowing Miami in because of how well Miami played. Miami was a prime team to make the playoff.
Well, look how bad Alabama was getting beat. Yeah, Bama came back and beat Oklahoma, but Alabama got smoked in the SEC championship game. Mm-hmm. They didn't even compete. They didn't lose a spot for whatever reason. Money and ratings and eyeballs. We all know that. And then they beat Oklahoma, but they were down 17 in that game, and then they went and got smoked.
Bad.
Really bad.
But it's not like they performed well in that first round either.
And then remember, like Ohio State got deemed a point. That's why the committee has issues, man. And I think, with the NIL and everything going on, and with this, I think they really need a commissioner. They need a Roger Goodell of sorts.
But see, that's the thing. You're gonna have to get the problem there. You're gonna have to get a lot of these teams to agree to somebody to dictate all of them.
Well, they need it, man, because there's some things that just have to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, and we sound like we're complaining. College football was fantastic this year. It was great. I think it was awesome. I think I think at the end of the day, if you take out Tulane and North Texas and you put in Texas and Notre Dame, I don't think anybody has any problems. Let's just be honest.
No,
I think
absolutely not. Because then,
I
like
think you
what
get the
we were
best
saying,
12 in.
that's the best 12, and that's the big problem. Is it's going to come down to eventually they're just going to add more teams, bro, and somebody else is going to be mad.
Well, and I just think, I mean, look, can we really say? I mean, look, you take out Tulane and James Madison, man. I mean, and you put in Texas and Notre Dame. We know for sure that's the best 12, and that's all. That's all. That's all we want.
That's
But you'll
that.
never be happy, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, Tampa Bay or Carolina didn't belong in the playoffs," which they
Somebody,
probably didn't. But somebody's always going to be mad.
somebody, bro, somebody somewhere is going to be mad about something. I just really hope that they, if that's all Notre Dame needs, I hope they take a hard look at their schedule at the time of their schedule when we get to it in terms of ranking. Because there's no way, because they were still highly ranked and they got swapped out. And look
I
what they
just
did.
don't get how
They
they
got
get away with not being in a conference and just getting a free roam like that,
they
man.
got into the trend of not playing in your bowl game, which that's taken away from a lot more people.
Yeah, they're probably going to. I bet they institute something, man. Where like, if you don't want to participate in your bowl game, then you're not going to be eligible for the playoffs or something next year. Because I'm sure college football ain't like that at all.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. But man, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out next year. As long as everybody's firm and fair, and we look at each other with the same eyes of who's playing what, because these soft schedules can't be rewarded, bro. It cannot. But coming off the heels of this weekend, also, Justin, me and you tuned into a fantastic fight as the UFC debuted on Paramount Plus, and Patty the Batty and Justin Gaethje went to absolute war this weekend for the interim lightweight title. Justin Gaethje won a almost dominant but very good performance by him, keeping it on the feet and just giving Patty all he could handle standing up. Now he is in line to face Ilia Topuria, the full champion, for his title later down the line, probably late spring, early summer. Justin, what was your reaction, and how do you grade the UFC's debut on Paramount Plus?
I gave the UFC an A. I thought it was a good card. The Derek Lewis fight was so weird, wasn't it? It was the weirdest fight ever. But he's just old, man. But I thought it was an A, and it would have had an A plus to me if we could have got that Nunez and Harrison fight on that card as the co-main. That card would have been great.
Absolutely.
As far as the main event, it was good. I said it going into the fight. I was talking to somebody watching it. I was said Dustin Gaethje is just dangerous, and I was thinking about the Dustin Poirier fight in particular, where Dustin was on top of his game when he fought Gaethje. He was looking like he was going to be the new guy, and then Gaethje's just a wild child, man. That dude is just wild. He is
Mm-hmm.
dangerous dude to fight. When you get in the ring and you fight guys like Max Holloway and you go to war with those guys, he got knocked out, but it was the last second. He went to war with that dude.
Yeah.
Patty hasn't really been in a war like that. And credit to Patty, man. That dude earned me over even more. So I was already a fan, but I mean, what a warrior, man. He got absolutely. I think he was hurt twice in each round. It seemed like, besides maybe the third round, which is the only round he really won. I thought it was a banger fight. Now, I don't think Gaethje has anything at all for Ilia Topuria. I mean, that is just a bad. I mean,
bad
because
matchup. A bad
because he's going to want to stand up with that dude. Nobody can stand up with that dude.
No.
I mean, that dude is just incredible. And I don't think Patty. Well, I don't think anyone's got anything for him at the moment. We need a new contender to come up because I don't think either of those dudes are going to stand with either.
No, absolutely not. I don't think so. I think Ilia Topuria should beat Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje to me has always been one of those guys like a Michael Chandler that has kind of just been the forever, like a Michael Chandler, like a Colby Covington, just a forever number one contender. He's better than the bunch, but when he runs into a real top guy, he seems to just come up short each and every time.
Yeah,
Now,
to me, he's a dangerous fight for anybody, though.
yes,
Like,
absolutely.
he's not going to go on no dominant championship run, but he's
Yeah.
just a dangerous fight because
gonna-
his fight style is I'm going to take your shots and see if you can take mine.
You're gonna have to go to war with this guy in some form or fashion. You're gonna have to take him out, or he's gonna take you out. That's the end goal of a fight with Justin Gaethje. Now, I also gave the UFC an A for their performance on Paramount. Nothing, they didn't do nothing new or extravagant in terms of, graphics or adding people to their commentary team. Although I love add the addition of Kate Scott to kind of give more of a sports feel to it. They, the cameras looked better. I mean, I'm not one to complain about the ads because I understood what was coming with this when they moved to Paramount Plus, which when you take away the pay, you're not going to watch every walkout. You're going to get the main event, you're going to get commercials during the walkouts and during the round breaks. You're not really going to hear the coaches a lot, but the main event itself was good. I agree that if Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes was on this card, it probably would have sealed the deal and made it an excellent card. But to me, all in all, it was still a great fight. Yeah, that Derek Lewis, it's just time to retire, bro. I mean, he slipped and fell and then just couldn't get back up. He was so old, and he was kind of just lunging and reaching for shots he was never gonna land.
I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's 2 years old now. Got
Yeah.
the most knockouts in UFC history. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just time to hang him up, man. I mean, it was just the weirdest fight.
And then also
But
the new co-main event that happened, Sean O'Malley and Song Yadong, they had an excellent fight. A very high-paced chess match in terms of striking for them. Lots of quick action, boy. My God.
that was quick, skilled timing at its best.
Yeah, he was. As Song Yadong was in excellent shape. Sean O'Malley looked ready to reclaim. I think in terms of Marab and Jan, I feel like he should wait for that rematch to happen and try to pick the bones of the winner because that was a tough fight for Marab and Jan. That was their second fight, and they would have, you'll obviously get the trilogy out of those guys probably sometime here in the early spring. If not, I don't know if he beats Peter Yan or even Marab again because Marab did him dirty twice already. And Peter Yan, that's a tough fight. Yan is a very tough fight going into that division, man. But as we speak on the UFC, they are going back to back this weekend, coming up with their UFC 325 card live from Australia, and another good card, bro. Another really good card. You got Volkanovski and Lopez rematching. You got Dan Hooker and St. Dennis going at it. The return of Tuivasa. What do you think about this card coming up, bro? You think they're gonna follow up well?
I do. I really like that Tuivasa Teixeira fight. That's a good fight. I think Volkanovski is gonna beat Lopez. I do. I think the card's gonna be really good. I think it'll be a real competitive card. I think they're off to a hot start, man. And the having the eyes on Paramount, having it much more accessible is going to grow the sport, especially if they can keep putting out decent cards, which is hard in fighting, especially because the UFC roster is probably not what it once was. But some of these guys are going to become stars now because you're going to have much more eyes on these guys now.
Yeah, absolutely. But with the addition of moving to Paramount Plus, I think it's more accessible than anything. Paramount Plus is on every smart TV. Paramount Plus, you get a lot of employers, a lot of people. If you buy something from certain platforms, they give it to you for free. So why wouldn't you check this out? I think it's gonna be another good card, but there's so much action going on this weekend. You got UFC back again, 325. You have the Royal Rumble for all you wrestling fans out there taking place also on Saturday, but my eyes are going to be set firmly right here as the Ring 6 takes place at Madison Square Garden as Teofimo Lopez takes on Shakur Stevenson. Now, Justin, I know you don't get into the deep ends of the weeds of boxing, but if you're going to have your eyes anywhere, I would suggest checking out this card that's going to be on the zone. Probably from the second fight on, it's going to be bangers of fights that are out there in this world. You got Keyshawn Davis and Jermaine Ortiz, Bruce Carrington going up for a world title, Carlos Adames and Amo Williams coming out of Houston taking on each other, and the return of Big Baby Miller. But like I said, the big fight will be Teofimo and Shakur. Our eyes will be glued to a TV in any form of fashion. Yeah.
Well, this is the time, man. This is the time. Football is over now. College football is mid-season. NBA is still not even at mid-season. So, it's time to watch some fighting, man. This is the time that boxing and UFC needs to be putting out their best stuff because everybody's going to be searching for that watch.
I think that's what I was smart thing too, bro. Like you said, this is the first weekend where there's no football. The NFL is not on this weekend, so it's wide open to grab an audience of people that are probably sitting at home looking for something to put on the TV.
Especially sports fans, they want to see something, man. And what better than the fights? Who do y'all think the best boxer right now? Well,
I mean, it's hard, bro. I think this is the time to determine who that guy is, bro. A fight.
yeah. Well,
A
because
fight
Terrence
like this.
Crawford, of course, said he's retiring, correct?
Yeah, Terrence Crawford is retired, and he's confirmed that earlier today on his own after they had the press conference. This fight right here with Shakur and Teofimo is obviously one that could determine it's a pound for pound fight. It could determine who the best boxer is. You got your Devin Haney's out there. You got people like Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz. A lot. It's a lot. It's a wide open door in boxing to determine who that guy is.
I also did see that Fury's fighting in April. Is that correct?
Yeah, Tyson Fury is back. He will be back, and for some reason on a tune-up, no less. But he'll be back in April, live on Netflix, and that hopefully sets up the fight with Anthony Joshua coming down the line. You know, obviously thoughts and prayers after he was in that accident in Africa, losing two of his friends. But he claims he is in good spirits and he will take his time and he will be back. But the Gypsy King is back in April, live on Netflix. That card is yet to be announced. Like we said, we got a lot of things coming up, a lot of fights coming up. You know, we will cover and review the UFC card. We're gonna review, we're gonna review the fights coming up this weekend with Teofimo and Shakur. We're gonna also peek at what's going on with Zuffa Boxing because they had a decent showing last week and they will be live on Sunday. So we'll check those guys out too. The UFC obviously is going to be live. We're gonna see what else unfolds from this outrageous Hall of Fame voting. As you know, now we're gonna wait with a patient eye and for the NFL honors next week to see who made it in terms of first ballot, bro. Because like we were saying, people like Larry Fitzgerald and people like Jason Witten obviously should make the first ballot. But after what happened with Bill Belichick, it's hard to say. Super hard to say.
I am going to cry shame if Larry Fitzgerald and Jason Witten do not make first ballot. I mean, I'm already crying shame, but my goodness.
That's what I'm saying. Don't be surprised if who you think should be in ain't in. Because now you got to remember there's leftover people from last year. It was a super small class last year. So we'll see.
I mean, who carried their careers with more class than Larry and Jason?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald, Jason Witten. I mean, Jason Witten had that little stint in between retirements on ESPN, and then he went to the Raiders. But he was still, bro, a Class A.
I love my guy. My son is named after that man. That man was never meant to be in broadcasting. My goodness.
Yeah, but on the short list of greatest tight ends of all time, for sure, bro. First ballot, no doubt, no problem in my mind. First ballot Hall of Famer. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is the show. We will be back next week reviewing and looking forward to the Super Bowl as we will break down the Super Bowl a little bit more. We're not going to watch the Pro Bowl because nobody fucking watches the Pro Bowl anyway.
No one cares.
Waste of space, waste of time.
I mean, they put Shedeur Sanders in the Pro Bowl. We're not doing it.
Yeah, and that's not a shot at Shedeur Sanders. It's just the thought that somebody in his position would be made a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, it's not taking a shot at him. Just come on. He didn't even play. I mean, he didn't play long enough. He didn't. I mean,
more to the people of look how many people said no that they're not going to play in the Pro Bowl. That you got all the way down to Shedeur Sanders. I mean, my God. But anyway, we will be back. We're gonna, like we said, we're gonna review the UFC. We're gonna review some boxing. We're gonna rip some clips, and if we're even gonna talk about the Royal Rumble if it's good enough, man. For my co-host, keep a lookout. We should be, as I've said previously, we got a lot of streams coming up. Keep your eye out on the Twitch world. We will be live streaming at some point, some Warzone. At some point, we're going to get together. Maybe even run some Madden. Who knows, man? We'll get that thing live and running up. But for my co-host, Justin, I am Matt Garces, hosting again live with talking about sports and talking about anything here on the channel, youtube.com/talkingboutradio. Everybody have a nice weekend. Find you a TV Saturday and stay there.